An S tier deck this time. So we've been playing a lot of the Shifting Woodlands and Manifest deck, which I enjoy, but it's not the strongest deck in the world. We have had some bad luck with it the past few times. Um, so what I'm gonna do, hang on, let me grab some water real quick, and we'll get started. Okay. Let me shift around here, get all comfy, wrap up in a fuzzy robe, put the hood up, bring up some of this stuff. Alright, I will... One moment, please. Okay, here we go. We are going to play... Probably... This is arguably, it might be my strongest deck. Definitely my favorite iteration of Charbelcher, at least in this variety. Let's go ahead and shift the piles around here so that they make sense with what they're doing. I'll put this in the top. Ramp. Okay. This is a highly tuned deck. I've done a lot of, like, this has been a reliable Climb to Mythic deck. It's just strong. You do have to know how to play it a little bit. There's some kind of idiosyncratic plays that take it to the next level. But basically, it's a Charbelcher combo deck, which means we have no real land, only MDFCs. We have our payoff cards, which are Goblin Charbelcher and Plunderer's Prize. The primary mulligan rule with this deck is you need one of these cards in your opening hand. That is usually the primary thing that you will mulligan for, is you want one of these 8 cards. As long as you have one of these 8 cards, you have a shot. Next up we have our enablers. These are things that make our combo harder to interact with. And those are this pile here. So we have Leyline of Anticipation. If we start the game with this card, it means that we can play everything at instant speed. That means we can Charbelcher at the end of the opponent's turn and then immediately use it on our upkeep. It means we can combo out with Ironcrag Feet and Charbelcher at instant speed if you're against control decks and they want to, like, tap to draw at the end of your turn or something like that. And then we have Ironcrag Feet. Obviously, it adds 7 mana. Our combo costs 7 mana. This is a no-brainer. If we're in red and we're doing Charbelcher, you're running 4 of these. There's really no negotiation on that. Next, we have our utility pile. This involves our... Excuse me. Hiccups. This involves our tutor. 4 gambles. It's not the best tutor in the game, and it will screw you sometimes. But it's the best tutor we have available to us in these colors. And colors are very important with Charbelcher decks because your lands are very restricted. So you're not going to want to run like a 3-color Charbelcher deck pretty much ever. So we have 4 of these. We can use these to either grab win conditions, we can grab ramp, we can use it to grab interaction, but we can also use it to grab our toolbox, which is these 3 cards here. So we have Surgical Extraction. We can gamble this up if we're against Reanimator combo usually, because they can go off before us. So oftentimes we will find ourselves gambling out a Surgical Extraction to interact with their combo and slow them down long enough for us to combo out. Cyclonic Rift is to clear board state stuff, so like Karn, you could potentially bounce a Karn at the end of their turn with this. If you have 7 mana available, so later in the game you can bounce everything. If there's like multiple problems, like they have a Karn and a Pithing Needle, well, at the end of their turn you Cyclonic Rift for 7 and then you go off on your turn or something like that. And then Brotherhood's End is to stall against aggro. So it can deal with creatures, it can potentially deal with planeswalkers. Again, Karn is a problem for this deck, so this can deal with Karn the turn after he -2s. It can also destroy artifacts, which is usually not what we want because we're a treasure-based ramp. But sometimes, like say you're against Affinity or something like that and they have a bunch of artifact lands, sometimes maybe tutoring this out and blowing up their whole board makes sense. Next up we have our ramp pile. We have 4 Reckless Barbarians because this is simply the most efficient mana ramp we can run. We can't run Pinhead Prism because we can't run any artifacts over in Charbelcher because of Blunderer's Prize. So we run 4 of these. It's a 2 mana ramp for 2. We have 1 Skirk Prospector, and that's because if this gets Fragment Reality'd, we want that 1 Skirk Prospector in our deck to give us the potential to not completely lose the ramp. So like you play this, they fragment it. Now instead of having 2 mana ramped, you have 1 mana ramped. You can potentially still go off on turn 3. So that's kind of how that works. We have 3 Strike at Riches. One of these was taken out in order to get a Skirk Prospector in here after I got tired of this getting Fragment Reality. Then we have 3 Pact of Negation. One of Belcher's strength is the ability to run this card with no consequences. Once Belcher's out, you can counter all day, and then you can just use Belcher before the trigger resolves. But it, alongside with Surgical Extraction, are all 0-cost spells, and that gives us the ability to ramp from 1 mana for this to 2 mana, which comes in handy frequently and is the way that we can actually get a turn 2 kill with this deck, which would be Pact Negations, their first turn spell, counter it with this, get 2 treasure tokens on turn 1, turn 2 play a land, Ironcrag Feet, Charbelcher, win the game. What the fuck is this music? Yeah, see, it's like, it's leaving my playlist that I made and going to shitty other people's playlists. Okay, so yeah, this is the list. It's a really good deck, and let's play it. Here we go. Yeah, it's like I'm playing my Suno workspace list, and like it plays to the bottom of the page, and then it starts playing other people's random shit. Like, just play my entire workspace list. What the fuck? Why would you think that I would ever want it to switch to a completely different style of music? I don't understand. This is great. So we have a Enabler in Leyline. We have 2 lands. We have a gamble if opponent's on something dangerous like Reanimator combo. We have instant cast Reckless Barbarian at the end of turn 2 to enable Charbelcher on turn 3. Yeah, this is just a good hand, so we'll keep it. Keep. Submit my Leyline out. So we will shock this in because we have Striker Rich and Barbarians. We want to, and like this card is so deceptively strong with Leyline of Anticipation. And there's the Ironcrag Feet. So he's dead next turn. Potentially dead next turn. He could have counterspells and shit. I will point out that once we've cast the Charbelcher, we can gamble for a counterspell. So we don't need to go off here. Like, we can chill. We're not in any danger right now. We can kill him at instant speed. So we want to wait for him to make a move. Like, we can just beat down with Reckless Barbarians and chill. You know, like, I'm not super duper worried about it. Sure. Well, now we see his hand, so we know what he's got. But yeah, you can kind of see how strong like having the ley line is. It changes the pressure from us being the ones that need to act to them needing to be the one to act. When you can only cast it on your turn, then you have to kind of go. Like, you have to try, because you're not going to win if you don't. But when you can cast it at any point in time, and you're in the early game, you could just sit. And as soon as opponent taps mana to do anything, you just go off and they die. And it's a little bit safer. So this looks like a good hand, but we have no payoff card. So I don't think we're going to take it. Again, the number one rule of mulliganing with this deck is that you need a payoff card in hand. Okay, this isn't too bad. We'll put this back and this back. Play tap land and pass the turn. If we can get a 1 mana spell, like any 1 mana spell, we can offer it, or 0 mana for that matter. We can offer it and ramp 2, and that gets us really close to going. Alright, that's the worst thing we could have drawn. The ley lines are extremely bad when you draw them after you've already started the game. I will say that. They're still worth it. Alright, we need a land or mana acceleration here. Alright, we do this to get 2 mana. And now if we draw a land, we win the game. Any untapped land wins the game on the spot. I don't think we can use that gamble, unfortunately. I wish I'd drawn that last turn and the Strike It Rich this turn. But if we use that gamble... Actually, hear me out. If I gamble for Charbelcher, I have 2 win conditions. Then the worst thing that could happen is I lose Ironcrag Feet and we would have a 1 in 4 chance. I think we'll do it that way. Okay, perfect. That's some smart gamble usage. We win no matter what. Well, actually, that's not true. If we'd lost this, I would have been sad. But I'm not afraid of like what opponent's doing right now. Unless he just combos out. No. He's just gonna get big. And that's fine. I do have some questions about like a remand, but I think he's gonna go all in. Yeah, that's the end. Unless he's got Pact of Negation himself. That was an interesting game. Having to go and fetch another Belcher, like, I was like, what do I get here? Do I get a land? The land would be way worse, because then we would have lost our win condition and just gotten a land. That would have been terrible. So we go get another slightly cheaper win condition, and then, like, either we lose the card we just picked up. Okay, that would suck. But we keep, like, our current plan. This is fine. Or or we get a cheaper version of it that we can execute without having to draw land. Either way, we benefit. The only way we lose is if we lose the ramp spell. So he basically took a 25, like a 75% shot. So we'll play Reckless Barbarian here, probably. Strike at Rich is also an option. If I keep drawing lands, this would actually be good for the opponent. So next turn we can slam Belcher if he doesn't deal with this right now. Like if he's got 3 mana, he can't deal with it. He doesn't have any cards to deal with it. Okay, we win. We win. Because we can slam Belcher with impunity because we have a Pact of Negation in hand. So what we'll do is we'll shock this in, slam Belcher, set a stop on our upkeep, and then just hold up Pact of Negation. Oh. Well shit, that makes it even easier. In that case, once again, we can slam Belcher, but we can actually make it a little bit safer by, I was gonna say gambling, but I think we have to strike it rich. We could gamble for another Pact of Negation, but we can't actually stop the effect of the Land Eater. So we strike it rich then. And if he destroys a land, then we can still go off next turn, and we can counterspell anything else that would interact with it. Except for Boseiju. So Boseiju would be bad. Oh, we need to set a stop here, because if we pact and you don't set this stop, you just lose when you pass the turn. It's really dumb. It doesn't give you the ability to interact with this trigger unless you have a stop set. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. That doesn't do anything. I don't care. You're dead. Alright, we didn't even have to use it. This deck, man, this is one that like would be kind of cool to have in real life. It's really strong. I need to see if there's anything that I should update inside of it. I don't think so. Like it's a pretty tight list. Like everything in it has a purpose. The only thing that would be good to update would be if we got better ramp. I wish we could use Pentad Prism. That would be amazing, but we cannot. Because that's an artifact, and we use Plunderer's Prize, which is just a like seek type effect. Okay, this is fine, and I'm going to show you why. This is a 1 and X. We can use one of these and one offer to ramp, and then do the other one. So this hand is actually pretty good. Play tap land. Next turn we double ramp. Turn 3 we get a Belcher out. Full control. Cast for 0. Counterspell. Make 2 treasures. I mean, if he's got it, he's got it. We just have to slam. He's mono black. Odds are not too great that he has something to counter this. One mana. Can you deal with this with one mana? I would be surprised in mono black. Alright. GG. God, it just blasts. It's like everybody else is trying to do like all this complicated shit, and this deck is just like play Belcher, activate, okay, next game, play Belcher, activate, okay, next game. And like if you do it, you do it. If you don't do it, you don't do it. But like this deck is insane. Competitive with it's competitive with the turn 2 Reanimator combo deck. That's like the more popular turn 2 combo deck in the format. This is a turn 2 combo deck, but it's like rare. Like it doesn't usually happen. Whereas that deck is like, it happens pretty frequently. So that deck might even be a little bit better, but this deck is not vulnerable to graveyard hate, which is pretty big. And this hand is fine. We're gonna gamble turn 1. Or actually, we're gonna strike rich. Nah. We really don't want to lose our blue land here. That would not be ideal, but we lost our blue land. Okay, that's a blue land too. It's possible that we may have to gamble for a board wipe here. Okay, we don't have to gamble for a board wipe. Okay, hear me out. We can't use it till next turn anyway. We can play our land, tapped, gamble for, and pay it for this, right? And if we lose Belcher, okay, perfect. Yeah, this is fine. Alright, bro, how about this? Fragment Reality. Let's see, we get mana out of that because of some of our ramp is creature based. That's why we did that, because of Fragment Reality. It's common. So like fragmenting our Charbelcher ramps us. Fragmenting our ramp ramps us. Deck is crazy. We have ramp, we have gamble, we have pact, we have a win condition, so yes, this is good. I think we shock in the red and everything else comes in tapped until we can go off. I'm thinking, yeah, okay, we're gonna just shock this in. I'm gonna gamble for ramp, or do I? Yeah, I'm gonna gamble for ramp. Okay, perfect. Okay, we don't care. The spring urge doesn't affect us. Do we just play this? Spirit Dancer. Where's the auras though, man? Those are what make it scary. Alright, Hammer Hand, sure. My dude can't block, but if we draw a land, we just win next turn. So, yeah. And we get to keep our ramp. So we're like actually in crazy good shape if we draw land here. If we don't draw land, it gets a lot iffier. Shit. Okay, so I could gamble for a land. I don't think we gamble anything because we can win with this. The problem is we're probably gonna get forced into blocking something. I want him to just go aggro. Okay. As long as he doesn't hit Ethereal Armor, which he of course did. So unfortunately, that means we're dead. If I had started with the ley line, I would have been able to do something about this, but I can't actually. So yeah, that's an example of like drawing a land is the difference between winning and losing the game right there. If we'd drawn a land on that turn, we win. We did not. We drew ramp for a future turn, which means we lose. Donuts. Donuts Paradise. Yeah, so we have enough land to cast Belcher, 2 Belchers, and a ley line. We'll keep it. It's not great, but it's definitely got a solid plan. We're also in the play, which makes it better. Sundering Eruption, if it's Eldrazi, can be good. No, it's like ninjas. Would love to pick up some ramp. Here comes the ninjas. We can actually kill the ninja. Oh no, it's this guy. Okay, well this is not bad because he's not even drawing cards. Ornithopter, and that's it. Okay. Good wreck. What are the odds of ninjas having something to deal with the Belcher? I think we just slam next turn. Go down to 10. I mean, he might kill us. He topped something too. Ornithopter. He's probably got Spell Pierce. So yeah, I'm just gonna do this. Alright. So we waited for the trigger before we did it, because otherwise he could have sacrificed in Spell Pierce, potentially. And now this deck runs Spell Pierce. But like, I'm not gonna miss the opportunity to slam the Belcher while sure that I'm not gonna get interfered with. It's possible that just waiting would have been better and made him not just go all in and try to kill us. But if this is all it is, then I'm not super worried about it. But if it's the little clone guy, we're in a lot of trouble. I think Silver for Master we survive, right? No, we're dead. Yeah, take Circuit Hacker back. Oh yeah, we're super dead. Alright. Verdicts. Like I said, it was pretty slow. We were a turn late. Sure. I guess I could have gambled for the board wipe. Maybe that was the way. Gamble for the board wipe, wipe out all the dorks, send them back to 0, and then... Yeah. Yep. Should have stayed untapped. Actually. Stay untapped. I think I had a gamble. Like, when it becomes apparent we're about to die, gamble for the board wipe and then blow up the board. It would have to be before, like, the copy came in or whatever. Because they ended up at 4-4. We can only kill up to 3-3. So you would have to do it, like, sometime before when the very end. Yeah, sure. We can work with this. Hopefully we're up against, like, a graveyard deck. So we have the Surgical in hand. So this is another kind of slow hand, but I mean, it has all the pieces. Priest. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. Shock Descend. Full control. Cast this Gamble. Counterspell it. And then kill him next turn. We need 5 mana and the Ironcrag Feet. Inkmoth Nexus with Scale Up would be a funny way to close out a game. Like, you could almost make a deck around it. Alright, dude. GG. Make a big mana. Do this for 4. He's got a surgical extraction, I think. Alright, we're back in it. Alright, 6 and 2. This will decide it. Make a try. Yeah, this hand is loaded. This hand is nuts. That's not good though. We don't have interaction. We could just be dead. Alright, so... Inner's tapped. Skirt Prospector. He can't use it though? I don't think. Unleash the Multiverse is 8, right? I know he can use it. Alright, we're dead. We would have needed Gamble. Man, why didn't we fight this guy with our last draw? What's he get? Yeah, we're dead. He gets to just loop it. I mean, it's over at that point. Like, it is possible for it to miss, so I usually wait to see what it turns over. But, like, it was over. So 6 and 3, not bad. I'll probably do one more. Alright. I'll be right back.